In this lesson, we're going to cover the corner seam tool. The corner seam tool will allow us to place in seams between two faces. The file that we're going to start off with for this exercise is called cornerseam.ipt, and it can be found in your Chapter 10 exercise folder. We're going to start off with this exercise by actually placing in a flange. I'm going to go ahead and select the inside edge. And if I zoom up tight, I'm also going to select the different height datum and change it to the bend from the intersection. So it's just at the exact same plane as that top face. Click Apply. And as I rotate this around, there are really two issues that I'm seeing so far with this model. I may not necessarily like the corner where this is coming together, so later I'm going to come back and correct that. And right now I have a large gap where the angle was from the first contour flange that I created. So first of all, we're going to go back and let's seal this back up. And we're going to do that by placing in a corner seam. So from the sheet metal features, select corner seam. I'm going to select my two edges. And now I have a couple different options for the seam. It can be a symmetric gap, the no overlap, overlap, or the reverse. And when you start to select these, you'll see that the colors will change. When it's red, the red is removing material and green is adding. So I'm going to go back to the symmetric gap, and we can also change the gap thickness. So in this case I'm going to divide it by 2, so it's thickness divided by 2. And let's go ahead and apply that. So that really does a much better job cleaning up that corner. It's nice and tight. But if I look at it, it may not necessarily be exactly what I was looking for as well. So I'm going to cancel that for a second. And let's go ahead and double click on that corner seam. So if we're not exactly getting what you want, you can go back and select on the corner tab. And in this case, with the relief shape, we have many different options here. So what I want to do is I'm going to change this to tear so it's extremely tight. And now let's rotate it to the back so we're going to see it a little bit different. And that gets me a nice tighter seal. Maybe I need to go back and weld that later. Now let's take a look at our first edge that we looked at before. You can see that I have a big gap right down at this corner here. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and apply a corner seam. I'm going to select my two edges. I'll keep the gap again at thickness divided by 2. But let's change the corner right to tear, so we'll be consistent with our other side. So again, I have a very nice tight gap there. For the next portion of the exercise, I'm just going to rotate the model around. And what I like to do is I'm going to place in two flanges. So I'm going to start up the flange tool. And I'm going to select the outside edges because I want it to go to the opposite side. And under the corner option, see that we do have an auto mitering on, and usually that's going to work really well for an inside corner. It would go back and place them in with a miter corner, but in this case it's an external corner, so it's not going to apply that automatically. So let's go ahead and create those flanges here. And now what I'd like to do is actually seal that back up, so again they're going to be almost touching. And again we're going to do that with the corner seam tool. I'm going to select my two edges to place the corner seam between. And we have the exact same options that we did before. So in this case, I'll just go ahead and click OK. And we've just created a nice corner seam. For the next portion of the exercise, I'm going to go ahead and open up the file called shell.ipt. And it too can be found in your Chapter 10 exercise folder. So for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shell out this part. Just a rectangle that's been extruded. You'll see that the thickness is set at 1 millimeter. I'm going to accept that default. Now what I like to do is turn this into a sheet metal part. So obviously right now this is not a sheet metal part. It's consisting of all straight edges. So first of all, let's go ahead and convert it. So under the Convert pull-down menu, let's click on Sheet Metal. And the dialog box that pops up is basically stating the fact that our thickness that we have set here should also be the exact thickness that we have set in our sheet metal styles. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that right away. Now from the sheet metal styles, the thickness is at 0.5. Let's change that to 1 to equal our thickness that we had for the shell thickness. So we'll go ahead and we'll save that. and done. Another way to make sure that this is going to be done correctly, I can go back and double click on the shell, and for the thickness value, what might be a really good idea is go back and list out the parameter and then go back and make sure that it is set to the value of thickness, so if the sheet metal style does change, our thickness here will change as well. Now for the next portion, what we need to do is we need to open up a couple of these edges, so then we can go back and apply some bends so we can actually create this into a sheet metal part. So how we're going to do that is again through the corner seam tool, and we have a corner rip option. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a couple edges, and the edges that I'm going to select basically are going to help define this face that's going to get opened up. And I'm just going to go with the gap thickness as the default. We'll apply that. And I'll do the exact same thing to my two front edges, opening up that face as well. And we'll cancel out of that. So now if I spin this around, you'll see that our part is opened up, but it's still not a sheet metal part. So what I need to do now is apply a couple bends to the inside edges. So I'm just going to apply 4 bends. You see that Inventor allows me to select right through the part, which makes it very easy to do. And now that I have a valid sheet metal part, let's go back and take a look at some of these corners. And again, I'm going to come back here and apply another corner seam, selecting my edges. As you can see, it doesn't matter which one I select. And let's make this tight. I'm going to do thickness divided by 4. And let's change the corner to a tear. And you see everything looks pretty good, except I'm still not getting the exact intersection that I want here. So I'm going to apply one more corner seam, selecting the inside edges. And again, we'll change the corner to tear. In this case, I have now tightened up that corner. So what I would do is I would repeat this procedure for the other 4 corners. So as you have seen, the corner seam tool can be utilized in a few different areas to go back and create different types of corner seams.